Okay, I'm using Dickie Bush's Twitter advice to create a chat about a topic I'm interested in called futurity. And so I just wanted to know at the beginning, do you understand? Do you understand? I'm asking ChatGPT if it understands. And then he or she or it explains that no, they can't understand. And so epistemology is flat out in this case. So I said, I am interested in the topic of futurity. So you it has to be, you have to engage the program. And I think Bush's suggestion that you do it this way is a good one. Well, it kind of defines futurity here. And then I tell it, okay, you learned a little bit about futurity and me. I want you to write about the topic of futurity. Just very generally. Now, I don't think this is a good idea. You have to eventually get specific. And I think that's the whole idea behind prompts is just kind of let it happen, just like you do with a Google search. So, great. I don't know what that means. When an AI tells you great, what they evaluate, maybe they sense that you're finally figuring out how to do the chat. So there are, 4 ideas to get me started on writing about the topic of futurity. And of course, I kept going. I didn't write anything about futurity. I just kept going. And I suggest I want to create an online course about futurity, create a template for that course. Now we're getting into the specific stuff. And I think this is the meat and potatoes of ChatGPT. I could be wrong about that, but so sure. Here's a possible template. All right, and it's very generic. It's a start. Then I said, oh yeah, I want to know. Ask me 3 questions about each of the subtopics in that previous question. And by subtopics I meant conclusion, module, introduction, and title. And I figured we could figure that out. He says, I'm sorry, but I need some clarification. So my clarification was, I just listed everything that was there. All the subtopics were there. And asked again. I just said I just listed the subtopics. I didn't ask it a question. I just said, sure, here's 3 questions for you. So it recognized that we were still on the topic, the chat of about futurity. And so these are questions. And I think if I take the time to answer these questions, then it could be worth doing. The questions are kind of generic, and it leaves everything to you. Kind of reminds me of a carnival soothsayer. Everything's just kind of generic. And anyway, so I say, answer the questions above. It says, I apologize for any confusion, but the questions provided were hypothetical and not specific to any particular topic. However, I can give some possible answers to the questions, and it produces those. So I think what I'll do is I won't read these answers. I'll come up with my own answers to these questions. Then I'll read these questions. And I think it's like most things that work for me. It's a process of, layering, like Photoshop, or it's a process of iteration. And that's where I am with this. So was it worth doing? Yeah, it was definitely worth doing. And I think it's worth trying to figure out how to chat with an algorithm. That's a valuable lesson. And Dickie Bush's ideas here are worth exploring, which doesn't mean that you can't chat in your own way. I think asking difficult iconoclastic questions might be a good way to approach this as well. So, that's where I am on this. Hope this is of interest to you, Kevin and Wendy, and thanks.